right, I'm going through ink cartridge setup, the explanations. This part of the video associates mainly Miwaki eco-solvent printer, which supports SS21, AS5, or BS4 ink, which supports either 600 milliliter ink bag with the eco case or 440 cc cartridge. This is how Mimaki's eco-solvent ink supplied. This is ink cartridge. It's fully packed from the factory, has a complete label of the ink name and batch numbers. So this is supplied as a 440 cc ink. So 440 cc ink has a ink chip already installed, and there are mechanical and ink near empty detection board. So it's basically plug and play. So you can just set the ink cartridge onto the ink cartridge bay to start playing it. However, this JV100 supports AS5 ink eco-solvent, which only supplied with a 600 milliliter ink bag. So I'm going through installation process of this AS5 ink 600 milliliters. So in order to use AS5 ink 600 milliliter ink bag properly, the end customer must have the weight scale, which goes up to about 1,000 grams. And you can measure, each 1 grams of a measurement. So the first step to do is you need to enter, you need to measure the weight of an empty eco case by using the measurement scale. So it depends on the item code you get. There are 2 types of weight. So you need to make sure what's the weight of this individual cartridge. This type is approximately between 230 to 250 grams per each. So it's reading 242 grams. So we recommend to write down the weight of this eco case on the bottom side of a cartridge. And top side, write down the ink name, because there's no label attached on the outside of the eco case. So in order for customer to avoid ordering a wrong ink type, because JV100 supports both SS21 ink and AS5 ink. So make sure you write down the ink name and the empty case weight, which you need to know the case weight for the beginning of the process after starting up the machine. So do the same thing for all cases. All right, once you measure the value of an equal case and enter that value into the ink level, the next step is to insert the ink case, the ink bladder into the ink case. So make sure you use a scissor, not a knife, to open the ink case, because it's possibility to damage the ink bladder inside if you use a knife improperly. So you must use the scissors to open the ink bag always. So always cut like anywhere which loosen on the strap, because the strap is a little tight from the factory. So just to make sure not to damage the ink bladder inside. So this is a middle case of ink case. Then do not cut off the wherever the junction point of the case, but wherever has an empty space. All right, when you open the ink bladder, you have ink bladder itself, which has a label of an ink name and a batch number and the expiration date. Also inside, please make sure you don't lose the ink IC chip, which is important and which needs to be changed every time you change the ink bladder. So it's not a reusable. So once you do that, make sure that you have an ink case which has the same ink color as the bladder you opened. Open the ink case. Like this. Installing the ink bladder, make sure you put the rubber spout, the exit of ink from the bladder to the slot, and other side you have a double-sided tape in the ink box. You attach that double-sided tape to the that other side of the ink cartridge and the part of the ink cartridge. And when you attach this 600 milliliter bladder, make sure that bladder is straight from the first to from beginning to end, and attach the tape. Right? And then remove the dummy ink chip, which is a white one, and attach the true IC chip. And look at the photo on the label and touch the direction properly. And once you attach that, you do not need to read the whole and entire ink bladder case weight again. So you only need to weight the ink empty eco case weight in a bin. All right, do the same thing for ink bladder for all 8 pieces. Make sure you don't mix up the colors from one color to other colors. I will explain the ink system path conversion depends on the ink color set you are installing here. So first, we recommend always open the back side of the ink cartridge bay. So you see all the paths of an ink cartridge. Is an ink path underneath of a cartridge valve. So during the installation process of an ink filling up process, you will see if the valve is opening properly and the ink is flowing correctly. Otherwise, you can always go back to shut off the machine and in order to troubleshoot. At this time, I will explain how and whether and you need to change the ink path. So this JV100 supports two types of ink set. 4 color, which is CMYK double, and 8 colors, CMYK single, and light cyan, light magenta, orange, and light black. So it depends on the ink set you are putting, you may need to change the ink path. So if you are setting 8 colors, you need to change the ink path. If you are setting 4 colors times 2 CMYK double, do not change the ink setting from the factory. However, there may be changing situation from the factory condition later on. So always make sure what's the condition on the machine before you filling up. So when you are setting 8 colors, 8 colors ink set, you need to detach this ink path on the bridge. And you need to attach the plastic cap to individual lines in order to separate 2 lines without a bridge. So when you performing this modification, make sure 2 things. One, the blue rubber, the seal rubber on the ink path needs to must stay on the ink path when you put the cap on. So there will not be any leak happening. The second caution is when you put a cap, make sure it's secured on both sides of the cap. So always double check and triple check if you are doing proper work. All right, this time I'm filling up the machine with a 4 color double, so I'm going to change back to 4 colors ink path configuration. So for the meantime, this plastic cap is not in use. Put onto a maintenance station. So if a technician later on wants to do this modification, it won't be used.